Welcome back to another Toyota video. In today's video, I'm going to be installing some lower ball joints for my 1990 Toyota pickup. If you guys are watching this and looking for a little how-to video, this is going to apply for 89 through 95 Toyota pickups and 4RUNNERs. Keep in mind, last couple days I've been doing some stuff and I didn't bother filming it, but last couple days I did add a leaf on the rears. I just got done installing new rear shocks, and I also did my front passenger CV axle replacement because the one that was in there was clicking. I also went ahead and put new front rotors, new calipers along with brake pads, and I also went ahead and installed new upper ball joints already. So I didn't film any of that because I was on a time crunch, but for the most part it's pretty similar. Upper ball joints, lower ball joints can be pretty similar. Today I have some time to film the lower ball joints, so I'm going to show you guys that. I'll go ahead and put a part number for the one that I'm using. For the upper and the lower ball joints, I'm using the 555 brand, made in Japan. I plan to just use my truck here for daily. It's not going to be an off-road hardcore rig, and I love using 555 brand. They have good quality products and they work good. I'll go ahead and put a part number right here for the upper ball joints, even though we're not doing that. And then for the lower ball joints, 90 pickup, which should fit most of the 3rd gen pickup 4RUNNER, part number is SB2852. These are really affordable. I got the upper and lower ball joints on partsq.com, and that's shit. We did find out that if you order the Beck and Arnley brand on Rock Auto, those are Reebok's 555 brand, so you can check it out. Now let me show you what the ball joints looks like. This is what they look like. These are the lower. I have it stamped right there, 555. Comes with the nuts already, and then comes with the hardware. These are all the hardware, the 4 bolts. Comes with new bolts that bolts into the knuckle along with the cotter pin. One thing I didn't show on camera is that you can see right here it has a grease fitting. These don't come with the grease fitting. They come with a bolt that caps it in. So you want to remove that bolt and put a grease fitting in there. The size fitting that you want to buy when you go to the parts store is a M6 by 1. They come in a pack of 10. Super cheap, $5-6. So I went ahead and put grease fitting on that so you can go ahead and grease the boots. Now right out of the box it's pretty empty. I don't think it's really greased up, but once I get this installed, I'll go ahead, you can see how flat it is. Once I get this installed, I'm gonna go ahead and pump about maybe 5 to 8 pumps of grease in there. I'm using moly grease, and I did the same thing for the upper ball joints. The upper ball joints came like how it was without the grease fitting, and I went ahead and installed grease fitting. So first thing first, jack up the vehicle, support it. I'm gonna start on the driver's side. Just to give you guys a little quick tip, before you start jacking up the vehicle, find something to put in between the upper control arm and the lower bump stop. I went ahead and put 2 plates. You guys can see it right there. You can see it right there. That's the bump stop. I went ahead and put 2 plates because once we jack it, the lower control arm is going to want to droop down, and we want it to not droop down as much as possible to give us room to do stuff later on, and I'll show you the reason why we want to do that once I get the tire removed. Now you can find anything to stuck in between there. If you don't have metal plates, a little block of wood, or like a socket or something along that line. Jack up your vehicle, make sure you have it supported on a jack stand. Remove the tires. This is one thing why I hate aluminum wheels. They're always stuck up, and sometimes they don't want to come out. There you go. Gotta whack it. You guys can see the reason why I put those 2 plates under this control arm, because if I didn't, this whole system would droop down really far, and we want this to support it up as much as possible, because later on when we drop that lower ball joint, this control arm, we want to push this control arm down and be able to jack this up. You can see I put the new rotors already and all that fun stuff. Couple days before you do it, make sure you spray with PB Blaster. Unfortunately, I didn't do it. I'm gonna go ahead and spray this side and the other side real quick. You got 1 cotter pin that's on that castle nut. Just go ahead and remove that cotter pin if you can. It can be kind of tricky if it's rusted and such. And then you have 4 bolts that bolts the ball joint up to the lower control arm. They're 14 mil. I went ahead and removed one already. Came out really easy with the impact gun. So I'm gonna go ahead and remove that castle nut first before I do the other 3 bolts. So go ahead and just remove that cotter pin. I think these are the original ones. If they don't come out, I usually try to cut as much of that cotter pin and then force the socket onto that nut and then just shoot that socket out. Yeah, we're gonna force that nut in there, or that, I think it's a 24. We're gonna try to shove this 24 in there. Stripped it. We'll try a 22. Worst case scenario, if you can't get this nut out and you have a hard time getting it, we can always take out the grinder and just grind that nut off. I got a vice grip on it now. Hopefully I can break the nut off. If I can't, then I gotta bring out the grinder. Sucks when this happened, but it is what it is. Nope, vice grip ain't working. Always have a grinder on hand. You should be able to press it out now. Let's go ahead and shoot out the 14 bolts. There's the 4 bolts holding the ball, the lower ball joint. There it goes. And now what we really want to do is try to, we can try to jack this right here and try to get the upper control arm pushed up, or we can try to, oh yeah, let's go ahead and unbolt the top of the shock so that the lower control arm can droop down. I forgot to do that, so let me unbolt the top of the shock real quick. Went ahead and removed the top of the shock. Now we can go ahead and lower the control arm, the lower control arm, and get the ball joint out of here, hopefully. I might have to still press the ball joint out. Yeah, so it's completely disconnected to the knuckle right now. There's still a very small amount of the nut that's on it, so let me see if I can remove it. There we go. You guys see that? Just a very small amount of that nut still. So now, once we hit it, it'll come out for sure. I'm gonna try using the hammer method where I hammer that little knuckle point and see if it'll put enough whack motion on it. If not, then I'll take out my ball joint separator. Alright, that's not wanting to work. I don't feel like whacking it too much. So let me get my puller. This right here is one of my ball joint separator. One of my favorite ones, so I always have this on hand. This is a 19 mil. That's gonna press it. 17 mil to tighten up. It's gonna pop. It's not wanting to pop right now. Let me get my breaker bar. There we go. That's the sound we want to hear. Yeah, I highly recommend you guys invest one of these tools here. Good to have a few different sizes. I only have this size, but they are worth the money. Okay, now we can remove the ball joint. Should be able to remove it. We just gotta make room for it. There we go, guys. So that's the old ball joint right there. I think this is the original one. You guys can see I had to cut it. So this one wasn't bad. Both of my ball joints, the boots are still good. And it's still nice and tight, actually. So it's still nice and tight, but I decided I want to just switch them out. And I think these are the Toyota ones. So you can see right here, there's a bolt right here that plugs it in, and that's where a grease nipple will go in. So you want to make sure you grease your ball joints before you put it in, because later on, this piece here is going to be blocked off. It's going to be blocked off, so you can't even access it no more. So I think what I might do is I might remove my Zerk fittings after I grease them up and just plug them back in and save those Zerk fittings, because there's no point of putting those Zerk fittings in there because it goes into the control arms like that, and you can't put a grease gun in it. So I think that's what I'm gonna do. So let me go ahead and clean up real quick and then get the new one installed. Here's the new ball joint. You can see I removed the Zerk fittings. I went ahead and put 10 pumps of grease on each of the ball joint, and then I closed them up. These are the new bolts for them. The bolts that were used originally has a little washer, but these didn't come with washer, so I'm gonna go ahead and use these bolts the way they are. But I am gonna put some blue Loctite just to help it secure. I'm gonna spread a little bit of anti-seize around this surface area here, and then I'm also gonna put some anti-seize on this shaft right here and also on the threads. And then we'll go ahead and get this bolted in first. I'm gonna go ahead and get this main shaft in first, and then after that I'll go ahead and struggle with the getting the 4 bolts on, because I think that's more easier. So let me do that real quick. I'm gonna put some anti-seize on the knuckle down here, and just to prevent it from seizing up in the future. It makes it easier. Not too much, just a little bit. I expect these ball joints to last over 50,000 miles or at least 5 years just by daily drive it. I'm not gonna do any hardcore road or anything like that. I'll put the anti-seize on here later on. I don't want to do it now because then I'm gonna get it all over my gloves here. So I'm using my foot over here to push this arm down, and you can see it goes in like that. There you go. We'll put that castle nut on just loosely. Put a little bit more anti-seize on that thread real quick. Just a little bit. And then we'll go ahead and work on the 4 bolts. They're 14 mil as well. I'm gonna do one at a time, and then I'm gonna put Loctite on them. So what I might have to do now is I might have to get a jack under this control arm and push it up, jack it up, so that I can get some get this to sandwich with the upper the knuckle here. So let me do that just a little bit. There we go. So it's all sandwiched up now. I just have to line up the hose. We're using blue Loctite. We're just gonna hand tighten them for now. They're not lining up right now, so. You don't want to cross thread them, so be careful. Alright, so that's one right there. Let me get my one in. I got the second one in. The rest of the 2 should line up really good now. and then we'll go ahead and torque them down. I believe the torque spec is, I'll put them on the screen for y'all. 43 foot-pound. That's good. 105 foot-pound for the big castle nut, and then we'll put the cotter pin in there. 105. Big castle nut is a 24 millimeter. 105 foot-pound, and then we'll line it up with the cotter pin hole. Yeah, there's no way of getting a grease gun in there because it's right in the A-arm, so I'm glad that I blocked it off instead of putting a Zerk fitting on it. There's room for the Zerk fitting, but there's no point in having one. $105, where you at? Feels like it's gonna start to... There it is. Perfect hole. Perfect. Cotter pin is in. We'll go ahead and lock that in. Okay, so check your nut. 4 bolts are in. Plenty of grease in the boots. I think I could have probably put a little bit more grease, so maybe if you guys are doing it, put like 15 pumps of grease in there. So that's good. Good. We're pretty much done here. We'll go ahead and bolt on these top shocks, put on the tire, and then that's pretty much it. Clean up the rotor a little bit, probably put some brake cleaner, clean up the rotor. So yeah, install your shock back on, remove your plates, don't forget about that, and then put your tire on and you're pretty much done. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm gonna go ahead and tackle the other side, and we'll have a new front suspension on this nice 3/4 swap truck. Hope you guys enjoy. See you guys next time.